Greetings, salutations, what's good, everybody? I'm Ekard, here with my partner in crime,
Hey guys, what's up? It's OTK.
and today we are here for the final day of Soul Leveling. A lot of news has come out since the airing, like even before the airing. I'm not sure which of it is true or not, but more reports are saying that there's going to be 6 seasons of Soul Leveling. Now, this is before
Okay.
April Fools or anything like that. So that's just how
Mhm.
that's how people get like ahead of it and whatnot. Season 2 was already confirmed. So that much, like if you remember in the beginning when we talked about Soul Leveling, I thought this was going to be a 2 chord thing, and 2 chords means like
Mhm.
24 episodes or whatnot. So it seems to be that extra core like that just disappeared and whatnot. They decided
Mhm.
to just go in the route of doing 12 episode seasons.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure how that would work out pacing wise. Because I was expecting if they were gonna do it, it would be like 4 seasons. But then they also said that because after the main series is another Soul Leveling series that's in like being written right now.
Mhm.
So maybe the season 5 and 6 will cover that that newer Soul Leveling series.
Mhm.
um but at least I know with in terms of what we currently got, it should just be 4 seasons, but we'll see if what happens with that. But yeah, season 2 is already confirmed. um yeah, with that said, we're just gonna press the play button and
All
see
right,
exactly if
let's see how this ends.
yeah, because I have some thoughts already to sum up for this season, so let's see. Oh yeah. Start off with my
Oh
man
yeah,
getting
man,
bounced around.
man's getting bodied by the whole room.
Yeah. It's like it's a gangbang and you're invited. Jesus Christ, Jinwoo.
You should just start picking up armor and just flinging them at
Yeah.
the other armors.
47 level.
Yeah, throw
Yeah.
mans at mans.
Yeah. Beyond a battle of attrition. Ugh.
Playing mind
Mm,
game.
mm-hmm.
Like Daddy Magneto, he could get it too.
President
Good,
Go Gunhi.
good-looking silver foxes all around.
Man's a beast. Scars and all. In the manga, it was supposed to be you're gonna get us killed. Okay, so yeah, the daily quests. Um, yeah, he didn't do any of the
Oh,
daily
that's right.
quests.
That's
Yeah.
right. You better start squatting on these bitches.
Man's hands. This is a mess.
I mean, I feel like this is kind of a cop out.
They set it up when you look at it like in just before you came in the dungeon that, oh, I didn't do my daily. Yeah, the only way to survive is killing these to level up.
That's like being in the middle of a match and like, okay, you know you're gonna lose, and then someone pulls you out, and you're just like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
little,
like
it's a
it's
little
a
unfair.
that's the video game dynamic just before a boss battle or in the middle of a boss battle.
Never in the
Yeah.
middle of a boss battle
Well,
have I been
yeah,
pulled out.
yeah.
If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
This is one of those where you get extra lives in the boss battle.
Dude, this seems like
Mhm.
a cheat. Like a cheat. It's like, all right, you're about to
Mhm.
die, but let's give you a little break to recover. Like, even though
Mhm.
like
From
this is
a
meant to be tough and a penalty, but he's strong
yeah.
enough to beat the penalty, you know? So I'm
Yeah,
just
so
like,
now it's cheating because he can
yeah.
manipulate the penalties. So he has force choke. That's like the only thing I know from Star Wars.
You're lucky. I know too much. Not a lot, but too much.
But it's funny, like, so this is coming around to some of the questions you had in the beginning of the series. Like, what is the system? Why is the system putting him through these trials and whatnot? Well, you're gonna get even more questions soon.
Yay, questions.
Yeah. Maybe some answers, but a lot of questions. That's probably gonna be a question in the future. Why is she holding her nose?
Does she get airsick?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay. See, I feel this is
Mm-hmm.
cheating.
Because he got a new weapon in between. Funny enough, if he would have crushed that room beforehand, he would have had a better chance to begin with
Mm.
the force choke ability. That's right, there was a golem. Or was it? I don't remember. I don't remember the golem, but probably there was. The composition they have on this pretty good. So, what class would you be if you can choose? So before I continue this, what class would you choose to be?
I always thought I'd be apt at being a mage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a knight or a warrior of some kind is very unassuming, so that would help
Mm-hmm.
in my enemies underestimating me.
Okay.
I'm not much for tricks, so I wouldn't be a thief
Okay.
or a dancer class, like a bard class, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think, even though I do like to just sing random shit all the time. I think I'd honestly be a mage with at least some hand-to-hand fighting skills just so that I'm prepared to take care of myself in case I can't use magic.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it'd be a spellcaster.
Like a battle mage.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone who can throw hands, but still like
Yeah.
be in the back line, being able to heal, but like, throwing the
Battle
huge
medic
ass
more so.
fireballs and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So based off of what we've seen, what the class you think he might get so far? So he
Probably
has
knight because
assassin, knights. Okay, it's probably knight. All right. So analysis is complete. Wherever the player goes, the angel of death follows.
mm,
Whatever path the player takes, it is littered with corpses, and the stench of blood remains.
necromancer?
In addition, the player craves. Oh, wait, that went by fast. In addition, the player craves great power and blaze his own trail without relying on others. Its thirst for strength calls forth the ghosts that roam the valley of death. The ghosts summoned by the Shadow Army will follow the player's orders as the Shadow Army and make way for the Shadow Army and make way only for the player. Yep.
Wow, wow, did I call it? Holy shit, did I call it? Wow. Or maybe I'd do that.
Yeah, he's an assassin with close range combat.
You don't have to be in the back lines. Like,
Mhm. It's a hidden class. Are you sure, bro? Oh.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You could be any kind of mage you want. You could be any kind of magic user you want. You don't
Yeah.
have to be in the back.
Oh man. Well, whatever they find on that island ain't gonna be good. I'll tell you that much. Their job has been finalized. Depending on the advancement points acquired, you may progress to a higher class. You have exceeded. Damn, that was for fast. All right. You have exceeded the expected survival time. Bonus points will be awarded. You have not used the instant teleportation. Okay. Bonus points will be awarded. Leftover HP 50%. You defeated all enemies. Bonus points to your total. All right. Yeah, it's just yeah, just yeah. Oh, I like the animation they have for this. My man's eyes. This could be Beaufrey in a few more episodes, I bet.
I still think Beaufrey could take him.
Shadow Monarch. My man said, I'm going to skip from Necromancer to Shadow Monarch. Very important. Mind you, all this is prearranged, as he said, by the system.
Mm.
But your question is going to be, but why? So, Shadow Extraction, active Shadow Extraction, 30 out of 30. Extraction extracts mana from a body whose life has come to an end and transforms it into a Shadow Soldier. So it's level 1. And then job exclusive skill, Shadow Storage, MP 0, Shadow Stored 20. Shadows soldiers can be stored by absorbing their mana of the caster. Yeah, Shadow soldiers can be I can't read the rest of that.
Mhm, it's too
Yeah,
tiny.
yeah, way too tiny. Shadow extraction is possible. Well, the one thing you worried about. Traded.
いつ戻るかもわからないよ。よろしく頼む。
And that's literally it. Unless there's something at the end.
僕の知る限りこんなものはなかったはずです。しかし、これは進化している。
Does it got a leg or something? I'm confused.
It has like a what feature can I say? I'm trying to figure out what feature I can say without sport. Like it's more than wings. I mean, so ants don't really fly, right?
Some ants do.
Yeah, some ants do. These ones, as you saw in the first episodes, like they're mainly grounded and whatnot.
Mm.
But yeah, these are ants that can evolve.
Oh, okay.
Which is so we saw a few stuff from Hunter x Hunter, mainly that one fight itself and whatnot. From a long time ago, if you remember the characters that were
Mhm.
fighting and everything. So the main character Gong was fighting Pito. Pito, that was an ant. Even though they look like a
Mhm.
cat, that was
Mhm.
an ant that evolved.
Mhm.
And they were
Mhm.
called Chimera ants in Hunter x Hunter.
Mhm.
And basically whatever the ants eat, they get those abilities. So think of how we're watching slime. The orc lord
Mhm.
can eat
Mhm.
like say like the lizard man and then gain the
Mhm.
scales so in the web feet and everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, think of the evolution like that.
Okay.
Borrowing heavily from Hunter x Hunter on that side. Um but yeah, so that is, as I would say, the end of the prologue, which makes for a very long prologue when you think about it in totality
Mhm.
of the weeks and whatnot. Um but I'll let you go first and give your thoughts. And yeah, and thoughts and honest opinions of everything.
Mhm. I don't have really any negative feelings towards the series. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
a fine series. Like
Yeah.
it kept me engaged. There were a few like shocking and pretty cool moments. The animations really done really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um I think like as we discussed as the weeks went on, it's more so about the pacing and placement of stories and situations.
Yeah.
What it means for the seasons later on. Um I I've said it before, I appreciate that they're adding more context to other parts
Mm-hmm.
of the story. I think that's important. It allows for a richer environment all around.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like it's one thing to just read the manhwa and just follow one character. What the anime is doing is just trying to direct you to the situations that are going to be affecting your main character instead of
Yeah.
just placing your main character in situations, which I think is important and good. It builds story and it creates a world.
Yeah.
Um, I feel that it fosters a little bit more um you're more invested in Jinwoo,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, when you're building the story around him and why he's in these situations to figure out what happens at the end of all of it.
Yeah.
Why are the monsters getting stronger? What is the system really? Why was it the system preordained for him? And if and like I know
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of nonsensical to ask, well, if anyone else
Mm-hmm.
completed that first dungeon with him, would it be the same play out for them? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
would it all play out? But,
Yeah.
sadly, we don't get that answer.
Not yet. That
Um,
is. Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. So that's good. That leaves it open to exploring the system a bit more through someone else's lens, right?
Yeah.
Um, is it my favorite of the animes we're watching currently in this quarter? No.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There were a
I
lot of
think
good
it's
anime. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of
Watching a lot of really good stuff.
yeah.
I think the series is fine.
Hmm.
Um, at this point, it doesn't really have a rewatchability for me. There
Hmm.
really isn't anything contextual for me
Yeah.
to go back and like wanna, oh, I missed something, I gotta rewatch it. Um, if we if we weren't doing this for Patreon and stuff, would I
Hmm.
wanna see the second season? I mean, I'd probably wait for it to, um, all come out and then binge it. I don't know if
Yeah.
it'd be, like, a weekly series I'd sit down and wait to watch unless I had nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fine.
Hmm.
I rate it possibly maybe like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think definitely what hindered it was um,
That week. Recap
that
week.
yeah, that 1 week with the recap and then, like, yeah. So instead of saying we got 12 episodes, it's really just 11.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm trying to figure out why that happened, and my concern is will it happen again in the next season?
Yeah.
Um,
That's a very valid concern.
feel like we're getting shortchanged,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Uh
yeah, 7 out of 10. It was
yeah.
interesting. I was on the edge of my seats for a couple instances, but it doesn't Um, I'm I think I said it in the first or second episode we watched. I'm more interested in seeing why the system is there
Yeah.
than really Jinwoo's journey. I just want to know what the greater situations are and why this is happening. You could replace him with
Yeah.
anyone, and that's kind of how I feel about him. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Like why specifically him of all people?
mhm. Well,
Um
no, I mean,
or
he's the main character. He's
yeah.
who he's
The
who
story
the
yeah.
writer chose, right? But
Yeah.
for me, it's like he's just any other anime guy, anime main character.
Yeah.
I don't see like for me they're kind of all not all the same because
Hmm.
a couple of my boys aren't him.
Yeah.
My Subaru is like not
Yeah.
him. Laios is not him.
Yeah.
But your basic male anime protagonist is
Hmm.
circling the drain of what Jinwoo is. So
Yeah.
yeah, you could pretty much replace him with any anime guy and put Sephiroth in there. It's like, like, put Cloud in there. It's
Yeah.
all the same shit. You know what I mean? And I know
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I know you guys are all like, oh, but that's a video game. They're all anime boys. Like, let's face it, they're anime
Yeah.
boys. So,
Technically, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and for you, for someone who's read the manhwa, how, like, I think I'm
Yeah.
also more so interested in like your feelings. It's like
Hmm.
how I feel about now us watching X-Men 97.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in seeing how you feel, how it compares to the manhwa that you
Yeah.
enjoyed so much.
Okay. So overall, I think I would give Soul this first season of Soul Leveling like around a 7 to 8 as well, more so on the 8 side.
Mhm.
There's certain things that I liked about the series. Animation, the OSTs. I think the best episode of the series was episode 7, where he killed those guys in that dungeon, and we got that
Mm.
OST playing in the
Mhm.
background. And it was like the loss of his humanity and him accepting that portion itself.
Mhm.
I think animation fight wise, these last two episodes were the better ones. I think that we could probably agree on. I
Mhm.
think they really dropped the ball after episode 7. Like you have I feel like episode 7 ended on a high note.
Mhm.
And then we got that 7.5 out of like nowhere. We're like, why? Then we get to episode 8, which was like, more filler than anything. And episode 9, which I think, as someone watching you watch the series as well, I think you enjoyed a lot because of how invested you were into the side character, the one
Mhm.
that like sadly died after just talking about his family, the fake
Mhm.
out that happened. And I
Mhm.
think even battle wise that episode was great as well, right?
Mhm.
But if you notice, we had this constant seesaw from a
Mhm.
episode that was all right, it had some good tension, and then we get the action, and then we go back down, build up, and then we get action, and then we go back down, then we get action. And then it was like that episode 6 to 7 combo where he had the dungeon with the Cerberus, and then we get to episode 7, of course, with the all that stuff that was happening. Um, so I do think that the overall like animation did highlight some stuff better than the manga itself. Um, Now I completely agree that Soul Leveling is a series that I feel, just like with the manga, is better binged than
Mm.
having the week to week, because when I got into Soul Leveling I was able to binge like nearly 100 chapters or so.
Mm.
And for me it was just like I have to pace myself watching the manga, because I was also reacting to it and doing live streams for it. So that portion as well, and everybody is just hype of like having a new person jumping to the series and
Mhm.
experiencing Soul Leveling with a community of people and whatnot, like that. Because the first, like, I'm reading like the first 10 chapters and I'm just like, all right, this is kind of boring. I ain't go like, and I
Mm.
think the majority of people would also feel like the first 10 chapters of Soul Leveling was kind of boring. Mind you, 10 chapters is what they condensed into one episode, well, one episode and
Mm.
a half, and that was like the first episode. And the first episode did an amazing job of just, highlighting the best parts of those 10 chapters in the very beginning. So I thought that's what one of the strongest points of the anime was. I do feel that a lot of the or should I say the anime fillers, where we're trying to highlight, these characters that honestly were not seen at all. Like all the other characters except for Juhei, um the our other boy, which I'm forgetting his name at the moment. I can't believe his running mate, Jinho, there we go.
Mhm.
They were seen. You never saw Cheyenne or any of the hunter guilds, or the hunters guild at all. You never saw the president this early. Choi, you never saw him. I believe you saw the White Tigers Guild member. I vaguely remember you seeing him, like at least a glimpse of him. um but the fact is that they were not shown in those first like 45, 55 chapters of the webtoon.
Mm.
um and when they are introduced, some of their introductions are grand,
Mm.
so that's pretty much been taken away. But at the same time, sacrificing those introductions to feed the story that they're really trying to make what's going to happen with the Jeju Island arc and whatnot, especially with these ants. They have chosen script wise to highlight and make this like the moment, like the
Mhm.
arc itself, right? That's what they're trying to do. um which is an interesting choice, because you did like all this talk about the ants and whatnot not happen at all. Maybe
Mm.
it was lightly mentioned even in the light novel and whatnot. But in the webtoon, we didn't even know anything about anything about these ants until at least like what if so if season 2 follows the same format, you'll probably learn about these ants in episode 8.
Mhm.
In episode 8 to like 12, or maybe episode 7 to 12 would be like taking care of all the ants and whatnot. But the fact is, like, I believe that they originally had 24 episodes with Soul Leveling, and when they went through it all, they probably said, you know what, we can make a lot of money here by
Mm.
Attack on Titan this shit, and said, you know what, here's one season, let people breathe. Here's another season later on this year or next year. To keep like it's if they keep so like let's say there's a new season every single year, they stand to make money for 6 years straight up,
Mhm.
right? Or so. And honestly, that might be a better idea, right, for a lot of people, especially because what we see now, especially because Soul Leveling is an action, a fantasy action series and whatnot. Um, the amount of action that happens literally after this point is like tenfold. So it's like night and
Mm.
day. Like we were getting a lot of episodes that were like this roller coaster type of deal, right? After this, it's just literally like a snowball, because it's just nonstop action, and the stories and some of the mysteries are just a part of the series.
Mm.
But it's like literally you're trying to figure out what the system is doing and whatnot, why the system is happening, why is this man Shadow Monarch of all things, and that's a massive um point of why he goes from necromancer to monarch, why the system fed him to, go through these trials and whatnot. Because it's like the system is not trying to kill him per se, or
Mhm.
maybe it is. And if the system, or we'll leave it at that without any spoilers or anything, but there's reasons why, this whole thing with the system is going on. And I felt like they tried to highlight some of that this season as well. Because those hints weren't really there. Like as I was reading Soul Leveling, I never really questioned why this shit was happening to this man.
Mhm.
Until a certain point in the plot makes you like, oh, wait, this is important. And then you go back and you read and you start to
Mhm.
connect the dots here and there. This time around with the anime, I feel like they are um not necessarily holding your hand, giving you like explanations or just feeding you plot points. I do think they're holding our hand when it comes to the ants. I do think that.
Mhm.
Um and whether or not it's gonna pay off depends on how they execute it for next season, right? Because like I
Mhm.
said, they're making a big point in highlighting the side characters, which is great. At the same time, if they don't continue to highlight these side characters moving forward, especially because their roles are going to be even more reduced after this ant arc and whatnot, to a point,
Mhm.
they're going to be reduced. But I think the way that the anime is going and they're working with the writer, these changes were most likely changes they felt were needed for a wider
Mhm.
audience. So I know a lot of people would have issues with the pacing of the anime when it comes to having these anime fillers, including these characters. I personally think it was the best part of the season because
Mhm.
it makes the series feel a lot more fuller.
Mhm.
Because I understand having a series that's just based on one character. It's easy to write, right? If you can just
Mhm.
focus all character development on one character and not really, care about side characters or whatnot, like it's a compelling series, but it does run into an issue like the longer the series goes, right?
Mhm.
Um we know a lot of anime characters who are ridiculously overpowered, right?
Mhm.
Now, how long can you watch a series where a character is becomes ridiculously overpowered, and
I
there's
think the
not that many
JJK manga fans are having that issue right now with
with
Sukunai
Sukuna?
here.
Yeah, like so it's the issue is because he's the villain of the series, right? But what
Mhm.
if it's your protagonist who is like ridiculously overpowered, and it's like who is left to fight, who is
Mhm.
believable to beat this guy, right? That's the
Mhm.
issue where I felt like with a lot of Bleach fans, have like with Ichigo and Bleach, where my man
Mhm.
just becomes part everything. Like he's
Mhm.
human, he's Shinigami, he's a Quincy.
Mhm.
He like what else is he gonna like if he was fighting Goku? You find out he's part Saiyan.
Right.
Like like like
Right. He's
it's one
also
of
the princess of the moon, right?
yes,
Like
like my man, like he has the eternal power, like bro, like and then you find out that he has a cloth because he's from Saint
right.
Seiya, like, like what is when do these characters, just not only rely on just skills and powers and whatnot?
Mhm.
Like first, like with Bofuri, like Bofuri, even though Bofuri is more memes and comedy, like Bofuri, like you just find you're just waiting for her to turn Super Saiyan at this point
Mhm.
because she seems to be getting like every single like she has a gang, bro. Guys,
Mhm.
she has a gang. Like where the part where we're at in Bofuri, she has a whole ass gang. Like she got spirit hands. Like I'm waiting for the magical girl transformation for Bofuri at this point.
But
Like
it's also
defensive
like, at
buff.
least with Beaufry though,
Yeah.
there are certain instances where she cannot move
Oh yeah,
forward
she yeah.
unless someone is with her,
Yeah.
or, there are things that she isn't good at. She's not good at everything. She's
Yeah.
just has a ridiculous arsenal at this point where she can adapt to most things,
Yeah.
but she's not um like in the episodes we just watched with the tower, some
Yeah.
instances Sally had to throw hands. Sally had to
Yeah.
be the one to take lead. In other instances she had to. So that's kind of what I like about something where you can have it's like Sailor Moon where you can
Yeah.
have an OP main character,
Yeah.
but they're not invincible.
Yeah.
There's a risk of death or danger. I mean, Bofree's in a game, but
Yeah.
even still she can't beat everything on her own. She does need her guilt to help her.
Yeah.
Whereas at this point with Jinwoo, it's like he doesn't really need anyone to help him.
Yeah,
Like
currently at
he
this,
doesn't
yeah.
need anyone else doing evil shit. He's just doing evil shit.
Yeah, and I think, as we progress, right, the main thing is this guy's journey from E rank to being one of the strongest, right?
Mm,
That's and it's a usual path, journey path in writing. It happens a lot, right? But it's more, it's always about the journey, and as the journey, you would hope that there's going to be threats that present a challenge. And so, as these challenges happen to him, it's how it's going to come across being adapted. Which I
mhm,
think for the upcoming arcs, they're going to probably nail it in terms of animation. If the animation is
mhm,
looking like this, then they kind of set the bar that the animation has to be this or better.
mhm,
I was really interested to see how they were going to animate the Shadow Knights,
mhm,
basically his army and whatnot, because as it is necromancer. So I was really interested to see how they were going to do that, and I like the way that the art style for it looks like flames and blue flames are coming out of them and
mhm,
whatnot, and how Igris was animated as well. So I think they're gonna do that justice, because I think I showed you like before merch of like
mhm,
Jinwoo, and you were wondering who the hell was those other
mhm,
beings next to him. Well, now, yeah, there you go. Like
mhm,
they're shadow, soldiers, so to speak. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think an 8 for me is the best I can give for this season one, especially because I'm expecting the next seasons to be better. Like,
mhm,
because I'm like, for instance, there are like this series isn't it's not a free run. I feel like free run was a 10 out of 10, like beginning
mhm,
first season, and I feel like if this anime had got 2 cores, it would have probably got a higher score as well. But then,
mhm, mhm,
like, how do I put this? I feel like if it did got 2 cores, then it would have got a higher score. But then I would have felt that when we did get, say, a season two, which would also been 2 cores, that it probably would not be as good. Like, I think this is a series that has to be 12 episodes at the current pacing they're doing. Because I actually was expecting the pacing to be a little bit slower. I'm not gonna even lie.
mhm,
I'm not gonna even. I thought that in 24 episodes we would have got to what we got here.
mhm,
But then I had to remember. I was like, oh wait a minute. Soul Leveling did have a lot of those chapters were just straight up action panels,
mhm,
so it wouldn't make any sense for it to be 24 episodes. And then I can only imagine how monotonous the pace would have been, thinking
mhm,
about it back then. So for what we got, it's solid. And I expect the next seasons to be better. Like, it has to be better. It's not like it's one of those. It's just you can't get any worse than an 8. I will
right.
say that this is out of the webtoon based animes that have come out. All right, like I think Clear Above is the best one. I mean, out there somewhere, I would still hold Tower of God like just right there, mainly because I mean you haven't seen it yet, but we will before the July season kicks in. Because Tower of God had just one moment that had everyone in the community, and I'm like, we've been telling people for years about one character and one girl in Tower of God. Like, there's no villain in Soul Leveling that's gonna, like, I feel like this writing wise, it's like night and day. Like,
Mhm,
I feel like, yeah, like it's night and day, right? Tower of God versus Soul Leveling, like there's just way
mhm,
more depth in Tower of God, because Tower of God is like the one piece of webtoons and whatnot.
mhm,
This here is more so like, I guess people would call like a Dragon Ball type thing, right?
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I guess that's how I would if we're comparing two things and whatnot. Like, the Dragon Ball of anime is going to inspire a lot more of the copycats, a lot more people to take the styling. So this is what I was mentioning last week. Necromancer, right? This necromancer ability, when I tell you there are like a bajillion new webtoons that have used the necromancer ability, and I'm at this point sick of so many of these webtoons, because like they just like it's not that they add anything new to it. There's one that recently came out that took a new spin on the necromancer ability, right? And that character in that series, basically he kills somebody, whether it's monster or human, and instead of arising them from the dead, he just basically takes their soul, and then he can take their ability.
Oh, he's Rogue.
Yeah, that's literally yeah. And mind
Rogue
you,
is the top
yeah,
tier necromancer.
yeah, yeah, like literally rogue. Now he just takes their ability, and he becomes overpowered like that. I mean, none of these guys are seeing rogue anyway. Maybe Jinwoo at end of series, maybe, but I mean, rogue is fucking broken. So I don't know, man.
Look.
I'm
Oh
not
wait,
wrong,
we don't need to get into a whole X-Men conversation. I'm like,
yeah,
wait, she is, but she isn't, and I can
yeah,
explain why, but we
yeah,
don't need to get into that.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah. Like but like I now the guy's not seeing rogue. General, yeah, well, we're reserved. No, Rimuru. Well, you will be getting into that soon, like today. So, well, we'll leave it off there. Like I said, I believe season 2 will be a lot better than season 1 because it's more so of the highs. There's the highs get higher, and you actually get to see the side characters in action, not only Jinwoo. So that's why I'm like, when the totality of season 2, you'll get to finally see why people love Cheyenne. Yeah, you're gonna actually also see Gramps in action, I believe, as well.
Love a sexy grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta see that. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot more, and I mean, like, this season 2 ups the action. Season 3 would then it's just like, all right, so we had the action. If season 1 action, I will say C level. Season 2 A level. So we skipped like a whole B. Like, we go from C to A in terms of what the action is gonna be in season 2. And then season 3, we're like S rank. That's like, and S rank would be like, oh damn, that's like, everybody here is fucking broken. Like at this point, every character is broken. So it's like, yeah. And then season 4, where I don't even know what to say. At this point, it would be one of those where, like, if season 4 doesn't look like Jujutsu Kaisen in the Blu-ray and whatnot, at least, then I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
I mean, considering that that's way a ways away, as long as they don't rush it, like
as long as
Jujutsu Kaisen
yeah.
has done, it'll be fine. I think what you're expecting will either meet or obviously I'm not the head of an anime studio, but since they have time, I think it's going to meet expectations, if not exceed expectation, because the art for this in season 1, the fight choreography, the cinematography,
that camera work,
production is really great. I think that's also why for me, it's like I give it a 7 just because the story is what it is, but it definitely would rank, like, it ranks pretty high for me because it looks good.
Yeah, and that's why I'm expecting better, and I think most people will be expecting better because there is going to be a lot more flashier stuff happening in the next season, because there's actually more villains that would have a chance, not people getting steam. Because you look at it like this, I mean, for the most part, Igris was giving this man Marvel versus Capcom combos, right? But at the end of the day, Igris did get beat in one episode, right? Then you had even the previous guy got beat in one episode, right? So it literally was like villain of the week. So once we start moving away from villain of the week, which begins in the season 2, then you start having these characters that have more depth. Season 3, you have characters that have even more depth in terms of the villains. That's how it's supposed to progress and whatnot. But it literally was like villain of the week, right? And that's what this kind of disguises as, if you think about it. It literally was like, all right, well, it's like, this is like Sailor Moon, villain of the week, but these characters become fodderized as this man gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you're waiting for those actual characters and those actual arcs that have meat on the bones and whatnot. And that's what you're going to be getting. Like, that's why they're building this whole thing in the background, because we'll leave it off at that. Let us know what you guys think about Soul Leveling, especially for those of you who have read it, those of you who are anime only like Kayla. And we'll be catching you guys next time for some more soul leveling. So with that said, doses.